What is it like being in DCFS? Well, I've had many kids who are not in DCFS ask me that a lot. Let me tell you, I first entered DCFS when I was 14 years old due to a family tragedy. When I was 13, I had watched my mom die peacefully. It was always me and her in the beginning. My brother moved out when he was in his 20s. I visited him when I could. His name is Jay, like Mockingjay, but without the mocking. My dad is from Nigeria. He crossed the border to America to see my mom, I'm guessing. When she had me, he left as soon as I was born. Nobody knows nothing about him. Growing up, I was bullied a lot in school. Kids hated the way I looked, talked, smelled. Seventh grade was the worst year of my life. Kids from school were awful. They humiliated me. Some foreign exchange students from Africa became my friends, and I started doing bad stuff with them. They made me steal $75 from my mom and credit cards because they wanted me to buy stuff for them. I was mildly upset because my mom was upset. I didn't show my feelings, but after everything I did, I felt it. Felt it a lot. All the bad feelings you could ever feel. But I didn't know what to do with them. I was sent to the hospital during my 7th grade year. The first time going was for an attempt. I tried to end my life. When I went away, my mom was scared and lonely. I called her from the hospital, and you can tell in her voice she has been crying. I felt really bad. I tried so hard to stop, but every day felt like nothing was getting better. I went away again. Now, this was the most traumatizing part to me that still haunts me to this day. My aunt came to pick me up from the hospital and brought me home to Mom, who was pretty sick. We talked for a few minutes, and she said she had to throw up. She had water in her lungs, couldn't even eat food without throwing it back up. I went outside on the balcony and texted my boyfriend asking if he wanted to hang out. I figured I would let my mom rest. I grabbed my phone, a hoodie, spare keys, and I left. I was only out with him for like 15 minutes, and it started pouring. I told him we might have to go home. I decided to walk him home, and he called me a gentleman, and I called him a dork. I walked him home and walked myself back home soaking wet and cold. I unlocked my apartment door and walked in. My mom was still sleeping. So I was doing my own things. I sang out loud, wrote a few poems, then I made myself dinner. I would always look in my mom's room to see if she woke up. Nothing. I became anxious. I didn't know what to do. I poked her and her skin was super cold. I yelped. My anxiety grew higher. I was freaking out mentally because I didn't know how to act physically. I texted my friend asking her, what should I do if my mom wasn't breathing? She said, call the ambulance. I did. It was almost midnight and I couldn't stop pacing. I looked out on the balcony and saw flashing lights. They were here. They came upstairs and I let them in. They checked for her pulse. Nothing. Then they did that defibrillator thing on her. Nothing. I was shaking and scared. I almost threw up. They did their last one and there was silence. The man looked at me with such sadness. She's gone. I screamed and started crying. I fell to the floor and cried my heart out. I never felt this way before. I couldn't breathe. I felt my whole world burn into flames. My mom just died. I had to call some family. I had to leave the building because I couldn't look at her corpse. I sat outside crying some more. Some cars pulled up. It was my brother that walked out, my cousin, her dad, my auntie, and uncle. I couldn't look at my brother. He kept telling me it's okay. I felt so sick. I didn't even want to go back upstairs with them. That's when my life changed. After having so many family fights over who wants to take care of me, I was sent to Aunt Martha's for 4 months. Didn't even make it that long until I decided to end my life again. Things just didn't get better. They sent me to a hospital. I was there for 7 weeks. My first caseworker recommended a residential. I refused until my cousin, who I never heard of, fought for me to come home with her. She believed I could be in a home with family. I felt happy for once that someone wanted me. I was only at home for 1 week. That is because I got into arguments with my cousin's daughter. If nobody loved me, what is the point in living? And I overdosed in front of my cousin. She sent me to the hospital. It was terrible. I felt like no one loved me enough to care. During that time, I was going to school through Zoom. Fast forward a little bit. I started interviewing for different group homes. That's when I found Cunningham Children's Home. I was more than happy to come to them. I had some visits with them before they could set a date for me to come. Being there had a lot of ups and downs. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. It took me a long time to get to where I needed to be. When I first started out, I was going to hospitals like crazy. I got into fights, had heartbreaks playing around with residential boys and group home boys. We're the only female unit, so we're the only thing they can look at. I had some friendship issues. I would get into fights with this one girl. I had bonding issues I shared very deeply with staff members. Academic issues, too, were no joke. Then I had my self-harming moments. All of these things that have happened while I've been at Cunningham have shaped me into a different person. My hospital trips have stopped. It's been 5 months. That girl I always had beef with, there will be people like her out there. But honestly, she has helped me learn how to manage myself when someone makes me mad or triggered. She has helped me realize that I am in control. I can control what to say and what not to say. I can control my own emotions and not give her power that bothers me all day. I learned how to love myself, even on my worst days. I'm still learning. I am so much more than people think. Love yourself, ladies, because at the end of the day, you only have yourself to lean on and love. Can't love others if you don't love yourself. Your heart will thank you later. Being a DCFS kid isn't so bad. As I get older and age out of the system, I will continue to live life as planned and continue to thrive for success. I will make many people proud and happy, including the ones I love. Yes, I know there will be hard times, but I know I have the power in me to get through it all. Life goes on.